Thank you, good. There we go. Peace and blessings, love and light. It's your brother once again, the Netter God, Nature God, Omni Omnis, also known as Omni Omnis. We're doing, of course, you know it's Black News 720, Omnivision EDU. You know what I'm saying? And we hit y'all with the 360 degrees. We turning things all the way around. You feel me? Because time is motion. You feel me? And we got to keep the motion flowing. So personally, family, I've been really busy lately. You know what I'm saying? Been really busy with work. But y'all know I like to build with y'all. I like research. I like information, and I'm like a knowledge addict, a knowledge fiend. I just gotta know. You feel me? And I had I was in a group chat with some people earlier this week, and they happen to be building about genetics and who we are as Black people, as Nubians. Some people consider themselves to be, I guess, like Native Americans or Indigenous Americans. You feel me? Which we are indigenous to all different lands and different places around the world. This is true. But I was disappointed with the anti-African rhetoric. And a lot of the times it comes from people who have a Christian background of faith. With the Hebrew Israelites, they go hard on the Canaanites, and they try not to associate themselves with Africa, but they fail to realize, like I said, that Israel is just one of Africa's 54 countries. And we know during colonization comes the division of the land, right? And, this stuff has been going on for a while, family. So it's in your best interest, it's in my best interest to do your own due diligence and seek knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, family. All right. And so that's what we're on today. If you guys want to chime in, you can. The link is in the comment section. All right. For anybody who want to chime in at any given time, the link is in the comment section. Okay. So we about to go ahead and get to it. The title that we're building on today is Who Are We? Culture, DNA, Tradition. Now, like I said, the build that I was having with the group that I was in, because I'm on, a lot of groups on social media and whatnot, people who are interested in information, knowledge like me, and people take on different perspectives. You feel me? And it's different ideologies or whatnot. But like I said, family, we are the indigenous peoples. There are people of African descent who we consider to be Black, African American, who are indigenous and native peoples. All right. I know when you get a job, you know what I'm saying, they got different stuff on the application, Native American, non-Hispanic, which they could have just put the race or whatever the person is. And then they have Black. You feel me? And Black is not a nationality. But I'm not a Moor or anything like that. But them brothers, they big on nationality. But I have a video, family. What we building about, it's called genetic nationality. And I feel what people are getting lost is they're associating land with genetic identity. All right. Now, the same way you can have a Caucasian couple from America move to, let's say, I don't know, Ghana or another African country. They move there, just like my man, the scientist. What's his name? Elon Musk. Got all this money. Guy seems like a pretty smart guy. I think he's a rocket engineer, if I'm not mistaken. But his peoples, they was in Africa. They moved to Africa. But does that make Elon Musk African? My man, what's his name? He a rapper. He out of New York. He from Africa. what's his name? I forgot his name, man. He used to be he used to rock with the Dipset and the boys though. But when his name come back to me, you know, I'll let you know. But anyway, just because you move to a certain place does not change your identity. Like I said, we got social security card, we got ID, we got all of that, man-made identities, right? IP address that I'm using to go live and build with y'all, right? But the true identity that is God-given, that is from the universe, is your genetic identity, all right? Now, with genetic identity comes what? We talked about what? Culture, right? Tradition, right? DNA, and we have a genome. And your genome is kind of like the Holy Bible. It's a book with encryptions of information, right? That tells your DNA how to express itself. All right. With this comes immunological responses to environmental factors and cues. Like you had leprosy back in biblical times, or people who had very low immune systems. All right. This is associated with DNA. All right. Like I said, the ability to reproduce, population, fertility, this is also associated with genetic identity. Okay, so those are just a few things that I wanted to touch on real quick. Now I'm gonna share my screen, and I just wanted to talk about the first thing I wanted to talk about is the blood type thing. I spoke about it in a few other videos. The blood type videos actually have the most views. So y'all make sure y'all check them out. People seem to be really interested in it. I know people are, this is the age of technology and the age of enlightenment, and people waking up. People want to know what's good. You feel me? So, I'm one of your independent researchers, and I'm like I said, I'm a seeker of knowledge. So that's what I'm here to do today. All right. And so I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna start off with genotype phenotype transcription, which deals with gene expression, and it's pretty much like 1 + 1 is 2. All right. Your genes are responsible for your phenotypical traits, your physical characteristics, right? So let's not get it confused. Y'all didn't watch Maury, y'all didn't watch Montiel back in the day, y'all didn't watch what's my man that had us looking crazy on TV, Jerry Springer. We know if it's the baby or not. We know if that's the man baby or not, but how the baby look. That's called phenotype. Okay? And so don't get it misconstrued, genes and phenotype. Genes are strictly associated with your phenotypical characteristics. And so there's a scientist that discovered this understanding in 1909. So let me share my screen. And he goes by the name of Willem Johansen. For anybody that think I'm just talking out the side of the neck or, just talking reckless. All right, let me share my screen. Not invite, but present. Share screen. Go ahead and get that rolling. And it's been a while, like I said, family. I've been kind of busy, tied up with work, but I love this shit. I love to build. I love to, have a progressive debate, as long as it turns into something positive. All right, so let me see where we are. Okay. Okay, where we at? Here we go, right here. All right. So let me share my screen. Willem Johansen family. Okay, so you guys probably have had your blood taken if you had a transfusion, if you delivered a baby, it's different reasons why people do this. But like I said, they told me my blood type is B. I disagree. I mean, it just like I said, it didn't line up with fertility. My grandmother had 21 kids, so there's no fertility issues in my family. Like we have twins. My dad is a twin. My first cousin, like I said, my dad and his dad are twin brothers, and he got a set of twins, and I got a set of twins. And so, trust me, there's no infertility issues in our family. Okay, like I said, one time, so this the screen. One time, family, I got like I said, I had a real bad tooth infection. Doctor prescribed me antibiotics, and like I said, antibiotics were actually discovered from studying Henrietta Lacks in the human anatomy. Come to find out, we have them naturally in our bodies. Okay, it's just for certain individuals who are antigenic blood groups or blood types, they don't have the proteins or the antibodies to fight against infections and certain immunological responses. So anyway, based on what I've seen in my real life, B blood type didn't match me. It didn't match. I'm supposed to have animal proteins in my blood. I'm supposed to have very low immunity. I really don't get sick often. If you see my stature, I'm in pretty good shape for the most part, and people think I work out, but I really don't be working out like that. I do sometimes when I get a chance. All right, so yeah, let's get to it. So this is the guy right here, Willem Johansen family. All right, so he's an Austrian botanist, and he deals with genetics. Let me go to it so we can scroll down. All right, Willem Johansen. So y'all see what he looked like. He a white man or whatnot, but I ain't gonna hate on him because he's one of the people that was doing the research back in this time when we were slaves. Okay, so Willem Johansen, born February 3rd, 1857, right? He died November 11, 1927. He was a Danish pharmacist, botanist, plant physiologist, and geneticist. Okay, so he's the one who came up with this idea that the 1 + 1 is 2, that the gene is specifically and strictly associated with the phenotypical traits, how something looks, how something sounds, how something behaves. I know my son, my oldest son, really all of them, they just like me. But yeah, he looks like me. When I first seen him, there was no mistake. I could have got a DNA test or whatnot, but when I seen him, I already know he was my son. I mean, he act like me, he move around like me, all of that. So that's what we're talking about. So when it comes to blood type, we got to consider this. All right. And so he discovered this in 1909. All right. So let's move on. So I don't want to hold you guys too long. So Gregor Mendel was another scientist who came up with the law of dominance, Mendel's law of dominance. Now we had a sister that was building on this, Frances Cress Wessling. She passed away not too long ago. RIAs to the sister, and I thank and I love her for all of her contributions in our community. So let me share the screen so you guys can see it. So this is Gregor Mendel. All right, born July 20th, 1822, and he died January 6, 1884. All right, so you see his timeline is in between the Emancipation Proclamation when the slaves were set free. And so while we was in slavery, we had scientists doing this type of research to understand the origins, of genetics, humans, and stuff like that. All right, so Mendel worked on the 7 characteristics of pea plants: plant height, pod shape, color, seed shape, and color, and flower position. All right, and color, taking seed, blase, blase. But he's known for the Mendel's law, if you guys have ever heard of it. And so we got people like, We got people like, let me see. You guys remember Bob Marley? Just to show them right quick. Bob Marley, let me just show y'all a few people that this understanding pertains to. So we just never get it misconstrued about the DNA. All right. So anyway, Bob Marley, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the guys right there. This is a brilliant mind, a very great influencer of our community and of our culture. And I would have never known his father was a white man if I didn't do some research on him. He just looked like a light-skinned brother with locks. Anyway, you see that the recessive gene has forfeited and that the dominant gene has pretty much taken over. All right. So like I said, his mother is black and his father is white. And we see that with other individuals as well. Barack Obama is also biracial. All right. The mother white, father African man. All right. So he walk around like a brother. He look like a brother. He smoked Newport. He can play ball. He can dunk the ball. I've seen him do it all. Most definitely a brother. All right. Dwayne Johnson. Let me share the joint. So y'all seen Barack Obama. We already know what he looked like. It's the first time I ever voted. First time I ever believed in politics in my life was when I seen change. Made me want to participate. All right. Dwayne Johnson. Y'all know him as The Rock. His mother's a little Malaysian woman. His dad is a brother, but you know he like one of them John Henry brothers though. The brother that built the railroad tracks and shit. So yeah, he get a lot of his genes from his daddy. But you see the dominant versus recessive taking place in the people that we know and that we've seen. All right. So you can see that the black gene is dominant. All right. And the Caucasian gene is recessive. All right. Albinism is a recessive trait. It's actually a genetic mutation. All right. Okay. So again, this is not to like take no shots at nobody. This ain't no hate speech. This ain't none of that. It's strictly for educational purposes. All right. So yeah, Gregor Mendel. Willem Johansen, the genotype phenotype. So y'all know this is a real thing. So when I talk about the blood type, I've seen individuals pretty much trying to express that you can have two different races with the same blood type. All right, but we're gonna get into that. I don't want to jump ahead too fast. Gregor Mendel. And then we all know about Charles Darwin, who came up with the evolution theory. And he talked about natural selection. So let me share that tab. Charles Darwin and natural selection. All right. So yeah, Charles Darwin was an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist, widely known for his contributions to the evolutionary biology. His proposition that all species of life, okay, make sure you can see it, because the screen won't sharing at first. I want to make sure y'all seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. And feel free to look it up on your own time, family. I know, this is the weekend and whatnot, and people got stuff going on, but, I got to do the Lord's work. So here we go. All right. Okay. All species of life have descended from a common ancestor and now generally accepted and considered a fundamental concept in science. All right. So Charles Darwin pretty much was like the guy who came up with the evolution theory as we know it. People try to say that human beings come from monkeys. And we talked about the Rx factor, which stands for Rhesus monkey factor, in another video. We talked about that and how it's associated with 15% of the world's population. All right. which is a mutation, an antigenic mutation that's associated with animals, but it exists in the human genome, which is weird because, like I said, plants, humans, and animals are separate kingdoms of species. All right. So I just got rid of one of my tabs by accident, but it's all good. William Johansen. Okay, so natural selection. Let me share my screen right quick. This is what Darwin was talking about. So it's pretty much dealing with the evolutionary ability of change and adaptation of a species over long extended periods of time. And so some genetic groups may be more evolved than others, depending on how far their lineage can be traced back in time, because there is a chronological order. So natural selection, all right, is the process whereby organisms better adapted to their environment, right, tend to survive and produce more offspring. Remember, we talked about fertility, and that the antigen in the A group, the B group, is associated with mutation, immunological responses, and deficiencies. Like they said, with Europeans came death, sickness, and disease, and the Trail of Tears, and the colonialism of the Indians and many other indigenous peoples. But it says the theory of this action was first fully expounded by Charles Darwin and is now believed to be the main process that brings about evolution. And so we have those adaptive mechanisms and abilities. Atoms record and store information. Yeah, we're human beings, but we're made of something. When we die, we decompose. We decompose of the chemicals, the chemistry that makes our bodies. And every race has its own biological chemistry, all right? And so this natural selection process is what's going on right now. They call it the Holocene extinction, the sixth mass extinction event, and is associated with climate change and global warming. And so when you trace this understanding back, the Holocene traces back approximately 10 to 11,000 years ago. So that puts you back during the time of the Ice Age. And so we rewind back to that time, 10,000 years ago, global freezing, global cooling, right? And now, 2024, since 2015, when they signed the Paris Agreement, we see global warming, all right? They say that it's man-made causes, but back in the day, we didn't have factories, we didn't have industrialization, we didn't have these things, and the environment changed naturally by itself, all right? And so this natural selection is, like I said, was talked about by Charles Darwin, but it's dealing with a relative event that's happening in our lifetimes, all right? And so the earth is changing. And your DNA is going to be responsible for different groups being able to make these adaptive changes, all right? All right, so let me go to the next joint. I hate when I delete a tab, but it's all good. All right. So we talked about that. Share the screen. Johansen right there. Genotype, phenotype distinction explicitly proscribed as a relationship between the study of development and the study of heredity. All right. According to Johansen, the genotype of an organism gives rise to the organism's phenotype through the process of development under the influence of the environment, all right? So one of the main things that I think about with that is, like I said, melanoma. Like I said, root word is melanin. People with low levels of melanin or lack of melanin are more susceptible to melanoma, skin cancer. Like I said, it's a tumorous cancer that develops from sunlight exposure. Plants, they grow from the light. Animals, they in the light all day, right? And humans, tribes of Africans, tribal people, native people, No sunscreen, no running from the sun, none of that. So that's an adaptive mechanism and ability. So yeah, anybody in the chat, have you ever put on sunscreen? If you a person of African descent, if you're a black person, I've never put it on. Played ball, like I said, played football, went on trips to the beach, outside all day, never had anything, family. So I'm trying to understand how I'm a B blood type. So anyway, we're going to investigate. So that's what we're doing. So one of the things that I also teach, that I've been teaching for years now, I don't know if anybody paid any attention or learned anything, but without crayons, without markers, what makes color? Right? It's thermodynamic chemistry. All right. So anyway, chemicals that appear color absorb wavelengths in the visible spectrum. These color chemicals are called chromophores. All right. The color we perceive, its brightness and its intensity depends on the shape of the absorption spectrum of the substance, which derives from the chemical structure of the substance. And so when it comes to skin, when it comes to the way we look phenotypically, all right, this deals with biological chemistry. All right. I know there are man-made chemicals that they put in the food, pesticides and shit like that, but they're natural chemicals on the periodic table of elements that makes up our bodies. And so they call it biochemistry. All right. So just a few understandings that we need to get down before we settle for someone giving their expert suggestion. All right. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with listening and conversating and I guess learning, but just make sure that you're inquisitive. Like I said, I got kicked out of church, family, for asking too many questions. I got into it with the pastor, and he threw some slick shots, and that was that. I never went back. And so this happens on jobs. This happens everywhere I go, because I just ask a lot of questions, because I need to make sure that we're on the same page, that it's understanding. Don't just tell me. We need to understand. And so I know you guys know about Henrietta Lacks, right? I got a video on my channel. It's called The Revenge of Henrietta Lacks. Y'all go and check that joint out. We talked about, what's the doctor's name? Greg Otto Gay, all right? And he's from John Hopkins Hospital. They did experiments on Henrietta Lacks. She developed cancer in her time period, probably from lifestyle. Like I said, diseases, it can be hereditary, it can be lifestyle, or it can be biochemical induction. So that just means gestation. The air you're breathing in, what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're around, you can develop disease in that way. So anyway, Henrietta Lacks got sick. They did these experiments on her, and they came up with this HeLa cell lines. They call it the immortal cell line. When the cells were taken outside of her body, the scientists noticed that the cells were not dying. The cells continued to live on and to replicate and to multiply. All right? Even outside of her body. All right? So they call it the immortal cell line. This was discovered by doing these experiments on a black woman, on her DNA. All right? So y'all can look her up at any time. Like I said, people are not places, and places are not people. Just because you move to one location or you move to one area does not make you that thing. I can move to Europe. I can have more kids in Europe if I want to, and y'all would call them European, but they're not. Genetically, they are African. Okay? So I wanted to show y'all this right quick, so we make sure we don't get it confused. So y'all see this chart? This is a little something that we shared in the community on Facebook. It says, what is black, right? Got all these different definitions for black. The Moors don't really deal with color, but we're referring to pigmentation, which is a chemical composition in black people. So you have a black woman from Australia. You have a black man from the Andaman Islands. You have a black woman from India. You have a black young lady from the Pacific Islands. You have a black lady from Malaysia, right? Like she's Afro-Asian. You have a brother from Russia, right? Which is like more so, he's European, but he's a brother. Like that's not even a hat. That's his hair. That's his hair. It's matted. It's matted up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a brother. China, Afro-Asian, and African. So my thing is that I teach that all people of African descent can be traced back to the same bloodline and the same lineage of ancestry. All right? We are the original people, the native people, the sovereign people of the planet before mutation occurred. I did build about albinism and how albinism is a rare occurrence that happens in all species, right? But in certain genetic groups, such as Caucasians and Asians, which they're said to contain between anywhere between 3 to 5% Neanderthal DNA. Okay, maybe more in certain areas. But like I said, there's original and then there's non-original. So all of these people are black, no matter what you want to call them. They're living in certain regions of land that are all different, but they all share the same genetic and ancestry and inheritance. Now, if something happened, they could do a blood transfusion. They could successfully do a blood transfusion with each other because of the chemical makeup of their DNA. All right. So just wanted to show y'all that. So here's a quick video I wanted to show you guys. And I'm just doing this like a 1 second. 1 second. I'm not trying to, okay, let me go down, share my screen 1 second. Let me get the video uploaded. This is a clip from Hidden Colors. I'm gonna show you guys. And Dr. Umar, I don't know if y'all familiar with the brother, but he was in the school system. He got all type of degrees. I think he dealt with like psychology. And he pretty much protect our children from, the Western education system taking advantage of them, diagnosing them with all type of illnesses and problems that they really don't have. They're just children and they have a lot of energy. And they're not domesticated yet because they haven't had enough time to be domesticated. So anyway, let me just show you 1 second. Join that. I was amazed looking at this joint. Like, those people are black. Those people are African descent. No matter what you want to call it. 1 second, family, while I get it up. Feel free, like I said, to come in the chat. If you know what's your blood type, have you got your blood drawn before? Have you ever put on sunscreen and had a reaction? I know dealing with my condition of epilepsy, which I've had since I was like 5 years old. Whenever I eat certain foods, specifically like animal protein, my probability of having a seizure is higher. If I eat dairy, like cheese, milk, all that's animal protein. Yeah, my chances of having a seizure rise significantly. And that's my point about watching for mutation and watching out for mutation and watching out for those immunological responses that are associated with animals. Animal protein will cause a flare-up in the individual who doesn't have the Rh factor or doesn't have any antigens. Antigens are biological markers, also known as the Rh factor, which is associated with Neanderthals, and they're not pure humans. So anyway, let me show you this. African origins influence Asian. So I just let y'all check it out.
When you read the European philosophers, what did they say? They often said that Africa had two great civilizations, Egypt in the north and Asia in the south. The white man said this. So they often, in ancient times, Asia was considered a part of Africa or Africa's second civilization. They said that you go to Asia and it's nothing but a carbon copy of Africa because it was settled by the Africans.
A lot of people don't know that there are pyramids all over Asia, and there are pyramids in China. In Japan, they have an underwater pyramid that a lot of people don't know about. And you can go there now, and that's one of those ancient mysteries. But again, pyramids are all over the planet.
So in Asia today, you have pockets of black people. You have the Mani. You have in southern Thailand. You have a related group in northern Malaysia, sometimes called Sakai, Sekai. You have the Andaman Islanders, and there are at least two groups. One group is called the Onge, O-N-G-E, or O-N-J-E, I think it's O-N-G-E, and another is called the Jawara, J-A-R-A-W-A. And then you have black populations in the Philippines, sometimes called Negritos, or Eta, or I think we should call them Acta, which just means the people. You have a tradition of a similar group in Taiwan. These are the diminutive Africoids. These are the small blacks, similar in many ways to the Twa or so-called pygmies in Central Africa. These are very, very ancient people who left Africa perhaps 60, 70, maybe 100,000 years ago and became isolated.
The Padang people, that's a group of people in Asia, and the women have these rings that they wear on their necks. That's identical to an African tribe of women in East Africa who wear the same type of rings on their necks. So this just shows that the African-Asian connection is still there. They still carry on some of the African cultures and traditions in certain parts of Asia.
I once had a professor of mine working on my doctorate tell me that she went to Japan and they went into the mountains of Japan. Now, this isn't a conscious woman by most definitions, but she couldn't wait to come back and tell me this. She said, Umar, I was in Japan. We went up into the spiritual temples of Japan, and we sat down in one of the temples waiting for the priest to come out and teach us a little bit about what they believe and what they stand for. She said, Umar, they walked out of the temples and their skin was just as black as ours. They had gray afros because they were elders. Now, she said the phenotype looked like the modern Asian. But she said the skin was black and they had gray afros, hair standing up on top like Don King. And she said it totally overcame me. They sat down and they began to talk. And she said, I couldn't believe these were black men. They were Japanese, but they were black men.
When I went over to Indonesia, I went there at night and I would see billboards of very light-skinned Asian Indonesian people. And then when I went to my hotel, I would go and watch these movies, and I would see these very, again, light-skinned, pale-skinned Indonesian Asian people. But the next day when I went out into the streets of Indonesia, everybody was either my color or darker. I didn't see one person who looked like these people that were on the billboards and on television. So they would pick and choose and get the whitest looking Asian people to promote in the media over there. And when I walked around Indonesia, I saw people like jet black, dark. I ran into a couple of people with afros. I saw one Asian brother, full-blooded Asian guy with an afro, and I had to stop him. I said, brother, where are you from? And the brother was like, I'm from here, right here in Indonesia. So that African presence, that African phenotype is still throughout Asia to this day.
All right, family. So we back. Yeah, I just wanted to build about, like I said, who we are, culture, DNA, tradition. Just because you move to a place, don't change your DNA. Can't just go and change your name like you can do in our society with our culture. You can't just, when it comes to the universe and creation and God, if you believe in a religion or whatnot, there is a such thing as God-given. Okay. It's not limited to what man got going on. You feel me? And it goes beyond, culture and land and just moving to, an area and calling yourself that. Like people can do that now. So there's a lot of confusion as to the cultural heritage and continuity of people's ancestry and their lineages. All right, so I thought that was I thought that was dope. So another thing that I wanted to show y'all, let me get into it. Red Cross, so you can see, you can hear it from the horse's mouth. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, so let me see if the screen is sharing. You guys can see it. 1 second, give me 1 second. Let me get the screen back going. Okay, I think it was right here. 1 second, family. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just present this to y'all as fast as I can and as smooth as I can. All right. It'll be a lot easier as a panel where people are asking questions and we're being more interactive. But like I said, I've been really busy and I've been wanting to get this done. So it's no more waiting. We gotta get it done now, family. All right. So let me go back to the joint, present, go back to share, screen share. 1 second. All right, hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, mutation, not there. I got it. Yeah, okay. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to see if blood type was associated with race, because it would defy basic biology. And William, because yeah, he's from, he's not from America. So it's Willem Johansen, the genotype phenotype transcription. And so this would defy all of his research and all of the understanding known about genetics and phenotypical expression. So it says right here by redcrossblood.org. Okay, that's y'all know about Red Cross. Everybody knows about Red Cross. So it's not just from Brother Omni. It says there are more than 600 known antigens besides A and B. It says certain blood types are unique to specific racial and ethnic groups. Okay, so if you don't believe Brother Omni, you see it right here with American Red Cross. It says, therefore, it is essential that donor diversity match patient diversity. Okay, for example, U negative and Duffy negative blood types are unique to the African American community. All right, it says U negative and Duffy negative blood types are unique to the African American community. Now, when I go out into the world, family, I'm sure like people don't be knowing me, but it just seems like, I don't know, people be trying to see who I'm in, like who you know what I'm saying, what I'm on, what I'm about. And I think, of course I'm a black man in America, but I feel like my features physically are very, very strong and very indigenous looking. So when people see me, they trying to gauge me, see who I am, whatnot. But it's all good. But I'm trying to understand LabCorp, because that's who it was, who did my blood testing, and they told me that I was a B blood type. But it says right here by American Red Cross, redcrossblood.org, that these blood types, U negative and Duffy negative blood types, are unique to the African American community. Now, what race am I, family? If anybody with any type of common sense If I'm filling out a job application, what do I need to fill out? I need to fill out non-Hispanic, white, Native American. Could be that too, though. But most of the time, it's going to say African American or black, all right? Because that's how I look. I'm most definitely Negro, black, a nigga, whatever you want to call it, all right? So y'all see that by American Red Cross. All right. So American Red Cross, they also said, so you guys can see it. For example, U negative and Duffy negative blood types are unique to the African American community. People with sickle cell disease and these blood types rely on blood donors who are black when they need a transfusion. Okay, so Brother Omni did not say that out of his own mouth, even though I've been teaching this for years because of the information and the research suggested these things. It was leaning, it was indicating these things. And whenever I see contradictory or I see like inconsistency, is a red flag, and then my attention is on it. All right. And so you guys see, that genetics, genes, blood type is associated with ethnicity. So don't get it misconstrued, family. There has to be an original, and then you have mutation. So in the study, you see you got the O blood, the A blood, the B, and then the AB. The AB has 2 mutations. They have the least immunity. We talked about that, right? And then you got the B with 1 antibody. They have, like moderate immunity. And then you have A, right? They said I was a B, but then you have A, they have moderate immunity. Like I said, I hardly never get sick. All right. And then you have the O blood who have 0 antigens, 0 mutations, and they have the strongest immunity because they have 2 antibodies, which no other group has. And so when they're doing vaccinations and they're suggesting certain things like that and say, oh, everyone should do this and do that, are you considering gene consistency? Are you considering biochemistry? Because a lot of our ancestors, people that went in the hospital old, you know what I'm saying? Their bodies couldn't handle those toxic chemicals. They're not getting oxygen, they get fake oxygen. Why not, let the window open so oxygen can come in the building so they can breathe? They're not even giving these people an outlet to live naturally, to be able to have a chance at survival. And so like my grandma and my great grandma going into that hospital and them being old and being sickly like that, and then the doctor giving them all these toxic chemicals that killed them. That was the end. That put an end to our relationship in this world. All right. And so anyway, this stuff is real, family. This is not a game. If you care about yourself, if you care about your loved ones, and we're not done, like I said, I just wanted to see what they had to say about certain things. So anyway, this Duffy negative and this U negative. All right, so Duffy negative individuals whose erythrocytes do not express the receptor are believed to be resistant to merocyte invasion, right, which are parasites. Although P. vivax infection has been reported in Duffy negative children in Kenya, suggesting a role in resistance to disease. You guys see that? That's on Wikipedia, not infection. Of course, if someone's infected, it's like they said when the Europeans came, death, sickness, and disease. A lot of the natives, they got sick. Bubonic plague, measles, smallpox, all type of plagues broke out in Europe. And when they encounter other people who never been around these types of things, you feel me? They got them sick. So anyway, you see it, family. This is not Brother Omni just making it up. All right? So people of African descent have some type of resistance to disease. according to Wikipedia with that source. So there's different sources. All right. But for the brothers and the sisters that's going around teaching that we're not African and that we're all different peoples, they don't understand genetics. They don't understand mutation. Mutation is a degenerative change, a loss of structure and functionality. Hopefully this is making sense to somebody, because when somebody challenge you intellectually or they're having a conversation and you see that they're missing something, I just can't stop right there, family, because it have to line up and it has to make sense. All right? Because you're smart. You have eyes to see, ears to hear, and minds to think. You go out in the road, you don't use you try to walk across the street and you're not using your senses that God gave you, then you will meet your maker. All right? Like my favorite Bible verse is what is it? The joint? My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Even though I'm not a Christian, I like that verse because it makes sense, family. Like a lot of errors, a lot of misfortune. Like the Nazis say, ignorance is the root of all misfortunes. Something happened to you because in some type of way you were ignorant. All right. It says right here, mosaic. A small ambioid sprozoan trophozoite as of a malaria parasite produced by Shy Izanagi that is capable of initiating a new sexual or sexual cycle of development. So it's a parasite, all right? It's common, is associated with malaria, all right? And so Africans seem to be resistant to these type of diseases, parasitic infections, all right? And so another thing too, not to put nobody on Front Street, because I put my own business on Front Street. I told y'all about the seizures. I did the vegan thing for a whole year. I was taking my meds. I was doing the vegan though, but then I started going down on the meds a little bit, right? And eventually I was able to come off the meds taking the sea moss, all right? And like I said, I asked my doctor about, was there any type of, any way to heal, you know what I'm saying? Any way to regenerate the cells of the brain, because I have damaged nerve cells in my brain, all right? Even though I'm a researcher and I like the education and intelligence and all of that, I still have an injury, all right? And so normally I couldn't go, like I said, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days without taking my medication. I would have a series of epileptic episodes, at least probably about 10 in one night, all right? So it literally haunts me in my sleep. So I can't even sleep. Like a person should be able to lay down and go to sleep. Like that's some type of peace at the end of the day. But I would be haunted if I wouldn't take the medication. I was able to go 14 days. All right? 14 days. Because I alkalized my body. I got rid of those parasites that was eating away at my body, eating away at the tissues, and hurting my brain. So anyway, there's a friend of mine who told me they had seizures when they was young or whatnot. And then when the COVID came, she got a vaccination, right? So she got the vaccination. The vaccination happened. She said she was good. Nothing really happened. There was no effects, and she was straight. But what she also told me is that the epileptic episodes came back around 3 years ago. All right. What is it? 2024? Okay. So the COVID hit 2020. Everybody started getting the vaccination. This sister then went 20. I'm talking about longer than that. This sister then went 30 years, 30 something years with no epileptic episode. Soon as she got that COVID vaccination, saying that she had already had a history of epilepsy. It came back. Now, I don't know if she associates those the vaccination. The reason why I don't deal with vaccination because it's an artificial immune booster. When you know about the DNA, when you know about the studies, you see how you have different immunity based on your genetic type, on your blood type, and so I have understanding of different people having different immunological adaptability and responses. And so you have people with lower immunity and people with higher immunity. So anyway, I didn't take any COVID vaccination. I was afraid that I might would have died because I have a history of epileptic episodes. And so for someone to just suggest everyone just go out and do the same thing, it's robotic. It's crazy. Like that's not math and science. Now, if you change one variable in algebra, you change the whole equation. If you leave out one variable, you messed up the whole problem. Because science and mathematics is exact. All right. And so there's a few reasons why I don't really subscribe to that type of rhetoric. All right, because science and mathematics is real, the universe is based all on that. So anyway, and like I said, we lost our elders, man. We lost, and maybe that was a part of the plan. You feel me? Less what is it? Social Security disability or retirement for people who have worked and have put taxes aside over the years and paid taxes over the year. Then they get older and they can't work. They out of work, but they need money so they can survive. Once they old and they brittle and they kill them off like that, they're saving a lot of dollars by getting the elders up out of there. And that's exactly what happened during the COVID. Unfortunately. Shit is crazy, family. It's like talking to a brick wall sometimes with a lot of people. All right. So we was talking about Africans being resistant to parasitic disease. All right, saying that they are antigenic free. Like I said, O stands for oldest or original in the ABO blood group study that was founded by Carl Landsteiner, all right, and A.S. Weiner in the 1900s. Okay, that's when the blood group antigens were discovered. All right, and so it says Plasmodium falciparum transmission probably reached its natural extent in Africa around the 1900s. Carter and Mendes, 2002. A few African countries have been completely free from malaria transmission over the last 100 years. And so there's certain countries that are targeted, I guess, for like free healthcare, like they did in America with the Tulsa experiment. The Tuskegee experiment. When all these African Americans contracted syphilis, when the government offered free health care, and they forgot about slavery, they forgot about the abuse that has taken place in this country of the U.S. in America. All right, our ancestors built this country, and like I said, the Tulsa massacre, where the communities was bombed, like it was a domestic terrorism in our own country. And for people who forget, when somebody do you bad, somebody do you wrong, and you forget about that, that's not wise. You can try to forgive them, but make sure you never in your life forget, because if they get you again, and hopefully the next time they get you worse than the last time, because that's your fault. That you didn't think, you didn't learn. Like Albert Einstein, his definition of insanity is doing the same thing with expectation of new results. That's the definition of insanity. Like you're not a conscious being. You're not aware. You're not living. Your mind, your consciousness is not even functioning. Even the cells of the body, record and store information. You know what I'm saying? The genes you're adapting over time, that's consciousness. That's showing awareness that somebody, something is aware and it's changing based on what's happening around it. All right? So that's that. That's why I became an independent researcher. All right? Because I have to know for myself because I don't trust. I don't trust. And maybe people don't like that, but I really don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You already know what you can do. All right? Okay. You see. Right, so I showed y'all from different sources, even right here with Science Direct. Exceptions are U negative and U variant phenotypes found almost exclusively in individuals of African descent and associated with absent S and S antigen. So there's two different types of antigens, a little one and a big one. The U negative phenotype is caused by homozygous deletion of 4 or 5 GYPB exons in the adjacent first exon of GYPE. So they're talking about antigens. All right. They're talking about how people of African descent and their DNA is associated with the absence of S and S antigens. And the antigen is pretty like a curse. If anybody know anything of the, like, you know anything about the Bible, what was the first thing that Adam and Eve did when they sinned? When God pretty much confronted them about their endeavors. What they do? They hid. They hid, right? They ran from the sun. They ran from nature. They tried to they pretty much tried to hide themselves, all right? And so even with the curse of Cain, I got a video where we're talking about that. I call it the mark of the beast. You feel me? Curse of Cain, mark of the beast is a biological marker that is pretty much like, it's negative. It's harmful, it's negative, it lowers your immunity, it lowers your ability for fertility. It mess up your biochemistry, brain chemistry. You know how people say your brain chemistry, all something wrong with you? All right, that's stuff that really affect people neurologically and affect their minds. Like, so anyway, yes, certain stuff that come with that. 1 second. And so y'all guys can see about these antigens, this devilish marker. All right, it's harmful. It's harmful, family. So an antigen is a marker that tells your immune system whether something in your body is harmful or not. Antigens are found on viruses. You see that? Bacteria, tumors. You see that? And normal cells of your body. But it's associated with viruses, bacteria, and tumors. So antigens are not good. All right? That's by Science Direct. Right? Science Direct. No, that's by Cleveland Clinic. I'm sorry. It's by clevelandclinic.org. If you want to research on your own, it's kind of like I'm doing it for you, but you can do, you can do more extensive research. I just want to lead you to, some of the things that I've come across in my research. So go ahead and get this thing over with. All right. So medicineplus.gov, not just Brother Omni. Not just Brother Omni. And mind y'all, I dropped out in the 9th grade. I got in trouble, got arrested a couple of times, and I guess, what I seen the people around me doing. I only thought you could play basketball, rap, sell drugs. Other than that, I ain't really see nobody really doing much. Even my peoples was hustlers though. They got some money. They ain't really work for the white man like that, like I said, but they took care of us hustling, not selling dope, but doing hair and cutting hair. That's what my peoples did. But they ain't know about banking. They ain't know about credit. They ain't know about a lot of stuff. Called us religion because that's what they knew. They didn't know certain things. And so I'm having to learn some things on my own, and I'm proud of myself because it's like, shit, a lot of the stuff I can do on my own, man. I just got to put my focus to it. So anyway, medicineplus.gov. This information is generally reported as a percentage that suggests how much DNA an individual has inherited from these ancestors. The percentage of Neanderthal DNA in modern humans is 0 or close to 0 in people of African populations. Okay? So if you guys feel like Brother Omni's just capping, just bull jiving, just bear with me for 1 second. And it's about 1 to 2% in people of European and Asian background. That's July 23rd, 2022. One guy was saying the research done by David Emil Reich was outdated. I believe, what was it? Ancient DNA. He wrote a book and he did a research studies that was published. It had Dr. David Emil Reich from the University of Harvard, and then you had Dr. Benjamin Vernon that was in that study, and I think the other person was Joshua Aki, and they're both from the University of Washington. Okay, and so even though they have done these studies and they get up, they do these speeches, these seminars, these lectures, and they going in, you feel me? People listening to it. I need to do some more research on my own just to make sure I'm seeing the consistency. Any sign of inconsistency is a red flag. Just never forget. If you ain't learned nothing else from it, just remember that. You can't force the pieces to fit to the puzzle. They just got to naturally fit. That piece doesn't go there. This piece does go there. All right? So the phenotypical standard for purity as a human is African. All right? Medicineplus.gov. Guy was saying the source that I cited was outdated, and that he has a source that's newer, and that what I shared was irrelevant. And so you see a newer source from 2022. All right, June 23rd. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, I don't want to just be up here just talking, trying to entertain. There's plenty of people on TV talking, trying to entertain, so you can't gain, you can't learn, you can't do nothing with what they're doing. This isn't just for me, it is for me, but it's for other people too who are interested in growing themselves mentally, growing themselves physically, doing better with their health, with their diet. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have antigenic responses when I deal with dairy and heavy meat. You know what I'm saying? And too many carbs and shit like that. That shit messed me up, man. Because that's not my DNA. All right? So 1 second. All right. And so just an example of the immunological responses. You guys see like sunburn, you already heard of it. Some people wear sunscreen. Told you guys of a story where I was working with 2 guys, one Asian guy that went to Duke. He was a chemist. And then other guy was a white guy. I don't know if he had he was big on schooling like that. But we was doing the job. The guy asked me that I want to use sunscreen, and I told the guy I never used it. Played basketball, played football. We was outside all day, every day, and I just never experienced it. I'm not trying to be funny, but you know, the sun is a natural source of energy. It's from the universe. I'm sure God made it. And it says in the Bible, in the beginning there was darkness and God said, let it be light. What light was it? What's the first naturally occurring light? Sunlight, starlight. Okay, so you see right here, overview, sunburn is inflamed, painful skin that feels hot to touch. It often appears within a few hours of being in the sun too long. For me, there's no such thing as being in the sun too long because I've never experienced it. You can get sunburn relief with simple self-care measures such as taking pain relievers and cooling the skin, but it may take days for sunburn to fade, all right? But it also leads to death and tumorous cancers. And the only reason why some people are able to evade this thing, family, like, that's why it takes you back to natural selection, environmental factors, and the changes that happens within the environment and the organisms or species' ability to adapt over time. So we got the global warming, the planet is heating up. We just had 144 degrees in Rio, Brazil. All right, Taylor Swift had a concert. Somebody fainted, had a heat stroke, and they died. I guess they didn't have enough water or whatnot, but it was pretty hot. I was just asking somebody at work the other day because they gotta like use a thermometer for the food or whatnot. Brother checked put the thermometer in the chicken, and the chicken was like 165 degrees. So I just thought about, you know, I said that shit like, damn, it was so hot that motherfucker could have cooked chicken outside. Because it was 144 degrees. That's only 20 degrees difference. And so the earth is heating up, all right? It's just ironic that certain groups of people cannot withstand this type of environmental factors. Now, what's crazy about it is the expansion of heat and radiation into the northern hemisphere. Okay, you have higher populations of non-pigmented people like Caucasians and Asians in the north. But places that are more equatorial, there's more melanated people, more dark-skinned people, all right, who have the adaptive mechanisms and abilities to go with the flow of nature. But if you are getting harmed by the light of the sun, and the global warming is resulting in the expansion of heat and radiation into the northern regions, then people who don't like to live in tropical places, there will be nowhere for them to go. They'll try to go further north, and it's going to be even more hot. All right, and so that's what Darwin was talking about with natural selection. All right, so there's artificial selection, you know, and then there's natural selection. Okay, so just keep in mind about that. And we talked about the recessive gene. Recessive gene is a section of genetic information with low probability of being expressed in the individual. Excuse me, family. All right. Yeah, recessive gene is a section of genetic information with a low probability of being expressed in the individual. It says, in the reproductive process of living beings, the new organism receives two versions of each gene. All right, one from the father and one from the mother. All right, cellular division and cellular multiplication. All right, so this is true. But like I said, albinism is a rare genetic mutation that occurs in all species. It's just when it comes to non-melanated peoples like Caucasians and Asians, not including Afro-Asians, because their genes are not the same as a non-Afro. All right, so I teach that there's African, there's African American, there's Afro-Asian, there's Afro-Latino, There's Afro-Indian. There's Afro-Arabic. All right. All of these people come from these different areas where there's a dark version and then there's a light version. They're all calling themselves the same thing, but genetically they're not. The universe, the environment, and the factors of nature, it responds to individuals differently, and that's why you see the immunological responses of sunburn and melanoma, skin cancer. Call yourself whatever you want to call, but you can't change that. That's God given. So if any individual has any issues or problems with that, you have to take that up with God, not with us, because we didn't do anything to you. We just keep forgiving, Europeans and these different races and racial groups that come into our communities, making money, exploiting us, benefiting off of us. We can barely get a loan. You feel me? We can barely get anything, so we can reinvest into our own communities. Because, there's politics with this stuff on there. But anyway, I do believe that things will pan out naturally. No one has to hurt anyone. No one has to do anything to anyone. Natural selection is a natural process. You can call it, like DJ Khaled, God did. Let's call it that. Let's call it God did. Got nothing to do with a man. Nothing that we have to do to Europeans or to any other racial group of people. This is just something that will play out naturally. All right. All right. So yeah, we already talked about albinism, and I showed y'all a few examples. Did I show y'all Tia Mowry? I ain't got to show y'all her, but y'all remember her from Sister. She's biracial as well. So that's an example of the recessive and the dominant gene taking play. And I was telling y'all about the Holocene extinction. All right, so you can see the screen. So this is a real event that's happening while we singing, while we dancing, while we playing basketball, and while we're going to church. Okay, you got the Paris Agreement by 192 nations who all signed to slow down this thing that's happening. Since the Holocene is the name given to the last 11,700 years of the Earth's history. The time since the end of the last major glacial epoch or ice age. Since then, there have been small-scale climate shifts, notably the Little Ice Age between 1200 and 1700 AD. But in general, the Holocene has been blase. But you get the point. That's from the University of California Museum of Paleontology. And so this is a real thing. There's another guy that I like to listen to called Guy McPherson. Y'all check him out. He talks about it. He talks about the Antarctica and all the ice that melted up there, family. It's thousands of miles of ice. It's been up there for a long time, and it's seeping back into the earth, into the ocean. So we're expected for sea levels to rise between now and 2050. All right, and so these changes are happening, family. It's up to you, you know what I'm saying, to prepare yourself. I feel like we'll see this stuff happen within our lifetimes. Like we're so close to it, we don't even realize it, because we in the matrix, family. We got to work. I've been working like I ain't even had time to really do this live. I've been wanting to do this live. Been working like hell, trying to get out of debt. And I'm a native person. Like my ancestors can be traced back. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, man. It's all good. I guess it'll just keep being injustice until nature tilt the scales. All right. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I ain't gonna hold you all night. I ain't gonna hold you all day. Like I said, the title was Who Are We? Who are we? Culture, DNA, and tradition. And like I said, there's many cultures that has had like sun gods. And then up into the 2000 year point, BC, some people call it before Christ, You know, you see the monotheism come in where they do away with all the native indigenous gods. So whatever spiritual system those people had was wiped away. And then you have Christianity come in with the Christian crusades, and they pillaging people, they forcing people to convert. Like that's what religious people do. They don't care what your religion is. They want you to convert to their religion. And if you don't do that, they don't care about you. They don't want to conversate with you. They don't want to hear what you have to say. And you know, as an educator, I try to build with brothers. I try to build with people, but they run away. Like once they see that I'm not Christian, I'm just willing to have the conversation with you. I'm not angry. I ain't got to be mad at you because you're something different. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like we're in the gang. You know what I'm saying? We both brothers. You know what I'm saying? You just got a different way of going about your spirituality. But I believe that most systems up until that 2,000 year point are corrupt systems. All right. And they don't serve you, and they have no type of consistency with your ancestors and the people that you come from. And, you know, we've been here much longer chronologically than any other group of people. So who are they to tell us not to have a sun god when the sun been in the sky before any man recorded a Bible, before any man could write, think, breathe, say a word, anything, you know, nature was here. And that's just basic logic. But yeah, family, I'm a pretty cool dude, man. Pretty humble guy. Sometimes people mistake my confidence for arrogance. I'm a pretty confident dude too. I've done things. I played ball, you know what I'm saying? I've been on stage, rap, you know what I'm saying, in front of people. And, you know, things went really well when I was doing those things. I really enjoyed it, you know what I'm saying? But I've done different things. And, yeah, you know, everybody got ego. Everybody got, you know, higher and lower self. You feel me? But it's impossible for me to be taken over by ego. I'm not that type of person. So you can see when I have conversate with somebody about their religion and they got a different religion than me. Just chopped it up with a brother leaving work the other day. It was, a matter of fact, won't leaving work, it was doing break. He was like, brother, you played sports. I'm like, man, yeah, played a little bit back in the day. You know what I'm saying? School ball, AAU ball, traveling. I went to Chucky Brown basketball camp when I was young. You know, he played for the Charlotte Hornets. And so, you know, I played at the world's, World Sports Disney Complex in Florida, in Orlando. They had Roy Williams out there, Coach K, all of them was out there. You know what I'm saying? Some guys was out there 7 feet. I played with them all, man. But yeah, don't mistake, you know, somebody's confidence for arrogance or not having the ability to be humble, because I'm a pretty humble guy. And I don't make a lot of money from doing this, family. I just do it because it's my passion. And I feel like it's helping me, but it's also helping other people. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I got the water, Libra, Scorpio cusp. So I believe like water signs are helpers and healers. And so it makes me feel good, even though I love myself, to know that I'm helping somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So that's my intention. Because, yeah, there is a big social injustice and imbalance in the world. And our children have to grow up thinking that you have to be a drug dealer. You got to be a basketball player. You got to be, you know what I'm saying? You got to be these certain things to be anybody, not even knowing that they come from greatness. Like I said, the Phoenicians came up with the first alphabetic writing system. These people are Africans, all right? Calendar systems, the Egyptians, the Mayans. You know what I'm saying? Like our people really do come from greatness. And if they could, Shaka Zulu, you know what I'm saying? You know, he was like a militant ruler, you know what I'm saying, against the, colonists back in the day. Selassie, you know what I'm saying, from Ethiopia, he defended his people from the colonization as well. Great king, great ruler. Mansa Musa, man who went around giving people bars of gold. He was from Mali, from his country. And he was a giving ruler, a giving king. So there's been civilizations of people who were not savage, civilizations of people who are actually civilized. All right. So go and tell your children, go and tell, you know what I'm saying, the little ones about who they are and the greatness of what they can become, and not limit their options. That's all I'm saying. Because that's all I thought you could do is the things that was around me. I didn't really have anybody to show me, those other things. But I do love and appreciate my parents for doing the best they could with, what they had. But love and light to everybody in the building. All right, I appreciate you. Peace, Black Power. Salute to everybody. And we're gonna do this again soon. Let me know what topics y'all want to build about. If not, I got plenty more ideas. But it's all based on the imbalance. If I see an imbalance, that's what my focus is gonna be on it. You feel me? And I see the imbalance in identity. And so today's build was about who we are. All right. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Love and light. We out. Peace.